You want victory? Then erase that word balance from your life. Because obsession, not passion, not motivation. Obsession is the only thing that builds empires. Passion fades when you're tired. Motivation dies when results don't come fast enough. But obsession is the fire that doesn't care how cold the night is. It burns through pain. It ignores logic. It turns a human into a force of nature. Every winner you've ever admired, every legend, every name written in gold, they all shared one thing. They were addicted. Addicted to their vision. Addicted to progress. Addicted to winning. They didn't chase motivation. They chased mastery. They didn't want to be better someday. They wanted to be the best today. And while the world was sleeping, they were awake. Bleeding, repeating, perfecting. Here's the reality no one wants to admit. You will never get what you deserve in life. You'll only get what you're obsessed enough to chase without mercy. People will call you crazy. They'll call you toxic. They'll say you need rest. But here's the truth. Rest is for those who've already won. You're not there yet. Let them scroll, let them party, let them waste hours talking about dreams. While they talk, you build. While they sleep, you plan. While they doubt, you move. Because when obsession enters your bloodstream, excuses die. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop living like you have time. This isn't about being inspired for a day. This is about transforming into someone who can't stop even if they tried. Someone who doesn't need applause. Someone who doesn't care about recognition. Someone who only understands one word: more. That's the price of victory. If you're not ready to pay it, leave the battlefield now. You want to become unstoppable? Then burn your plan B. Tear down the safety nets. Because the moment you give yourself an escape route, your mind stops fighting like it's life or death. You don't grow when you're comfortable. You grow when your back is against the wall and failure isn't an option. Pressure makes diamonds, and if you can't handle the heat, you'll stay a pebble forever. You see, obsession isn't about wanting success. It's about needing it. Needing it like oxygen. Needing it like the only way you can breathe is by making your vision real. That's the level the greats lived at. Kobe didn't count hours. He counted reps. Jobs didn't chase trends. He chased perfection. Eminem didn't care about sleep. He cared about lines that would echo for decades. The weak ones look at obsession like madness. But the strong ones, real ones know, it's the only language greatness understands. You have to kill comfort. Kill distraction. Kill the version of you that settles for good enough. Obsession doesn't live with comfort. It lives with hunger. It lives in dark rooms where no one claps, no one praises, no one understands. But those hours are where monsters are made.
Every second you waste doubting yourself is a second your competition uses to get ahead. Every excuse you make is another brick in the wall between you and your dream. So stop saying one day. Make today the only day that matters. Let your routine become your religion. Let your grind become your identity. And when people say, "You've changed," smile. Because that was the point. You want to know the truth. Every throne comes soaked in blood. The blood of your comfort, your free time, your excuses, and sometimes your peace. You'll lose people, you'll lose friends, you'll lose your old life, but you'll gain something stronger. Purpose. They'll laugh at you for taking life too seriously. They'll call you obsessed like it's an insult. But that's how mediocrity speaks. It always mocks what it doesn't have the courage to become. The road to victory is cruel. It will demand your time, your energy, your sleep, your mental peace. It will test you until your body shakes and your soul screams. And most people quit right before it gets good, because they can't stand the loneliness. But obsession is built for loneliness. It doesn't need company. It only needs progress. There's no crowd in the dark. There's no applause when you're practicing in silence. But when the world finally sees you shine, they'll call you lucky. They won't see the nights you cried. They won't see the battles you fought alone. They'll just see the result and forget the pain that made it possible. So don't break when it gets hard. Break the limits that hold you down. Turn pain into a weapon. Turn sacrifice into fuel. Because nothing burns brighter than a soul obsessed with its purpose. You didn't come this far to be average. You didn't wake up early. You didn't bleed for years just to live quietly. You came to dominate. And domination doesn't come from talent. It comes from obsession. It comes from refusing to rest until your name means something. When you're obsessed, you don't chase, you attract. Because energy that powerful bends reality. The universe has no choice but to open doors for someone who refuses to stop knocking. Obsession turns rejection into training. Obsession turns failure into wisdom. Obsession turns hate into fuel. That's why the obsessed never lose. They either win or learn. So stop trying to be balanced. Stop trying to be liked. Stop trying to make everyone understand your grind. They won't, and they don't have to. You don't owe them explanations. You owe yourself results. When your name is carved into the walls of success, when people whisper it with respect, when you finally stand where you said you would, that's when you realize it was all worth it. All the pain, all the nights, all the sacrifices. Because obsession built what motivation never could. So here's your final truth. If you're not obsessed, you're not serious. If you're not addicted to your purpose, you're still playing games. And if you ever find yourself wondering how far you can go, then go until you break. Then rebuild yourself stronger, faster, colder. Because the throne doesn't belong to the talented. It belongs to the obsessed. Obsession or nothing. Because average never changed the world. So you did it. You climbed the mountain. You built what they said you couldn't. You proved them wrong. You made it. And yet, something inside you whispers, now what? See, nobody talks about this part. They show you the grind, the rise, the glory. But they never show you the silence after the applause, the emptiness that follows victory. Because when you've lived obsessed for years, and suddenly you win, you don't know how to live without the fact. You realize your enemy was never the world. It was the version of you that refused to stop. And that's the dark truth of obsession. It doesn't end when you win. It doesn't rest when you succeed. It just finds a new mountain. You start chasing something else. Not because you need more, but because stopping feels like death. The same fire that made you unstoppable now burns everything that slows you down. You can't relax. You can't stop thinking. Every second of peace feels like weakness. And that's when you understand. This wasn't about success anymore. It was about becoming something the world couldn't ignore. You didn't chase money. You chased meaning. You didn't chase trophies. You chased immortality. That's what obsession does. It doesn't make you rich. It makes you eternal. The world loves success stories, but it hates the monsters who had to become one to get there. They'll see your face on screens, your name in lights, but they'll never see the cost. They'll never see the isolation, the guilt, the nights you bled for this. They'll say, you've changed, and they'll be right. Because the person you were had to die for this one to exist. That's what obsession demands. A funeral for your old self. You'll stop fitting in. You'll stop talking like them, dreaming like them, living like them. Because your frequency has changed. And mediocrity can't breathe in your air anymore. They'll say you're arrogant. They'll say you're too cold, too focused, too distant. But they don't understand. You didn't become heartless. You became ruthless. There's a difference. Heartless is when you stop caring about everything. Ruthless is when you stop caring about what doesn't matter. And that's why obsession rules. Because it cuts away the noise. It teaches you how to choose silence over validation, discipline over comfort, purpose over peace. Let them hate. Let them misunderstand. Because when your name outlives theirs, when your work echoes in generations you'll never meet, then maybe they'll understand. But by then, you will be too far ahead to hear them.
Everyone wants to be remembered. but nobody wants to pay what memory costs. To be remembered, you have to disappear first. From their parties, their circles, their comfort, you'll vanish into your grind. You'll vanish into repetition, into silence, into loneliness. You'll be invisible until one day the world wakes up and realizes they've been living in what you built. That's legacy. That's what obsession buys. But it doesn't come cheap. It takes your youth, your peace, your balance. It gives you scars where other people have smiles. But those scars, they tell a story the world will never forget. You'll see people copying your style, quoting your lines, chasing the same dream you died building. And that's when you'll smile, not because you're proud, but because you finally understand what immortality means. It's not about living forever. It's about creating something that does. So when they call you obsessed, when they say you've gone too far, remember, the world only remembers the ones who didn't stop. They'll study your discipline. They'll idolize your hunger, but they'll never match your pain. Because pain is the passport of greatness. And obsession is the only one who knows how to use it. There's a point where obsession stops being what you do and becomes who you are. You stop chasing success. You start breathing it. You stop setting alarms because your dream wakes you up before the clock does. You don't need motivation anymore. You are motivation. You are the walking reminder of what focus looks like when it's done pretending to be normal. You become untouchable. Not because you're the strongest, but because you're the most consistent. The world can't destroy what it can't distract. And that's what obsession turns you into, a storm that doesn't care who stands in its way. You don't compete anymore, you dominate. You don't prove anymore, you exist as proof. Every scar, every sleepless night, every breakdown becomes a chapter in your legend. And one day, long after you're gone, someone will whisper your name as a standard. They'll use your story as a reason to keep going. And that's when your obsession becomes eternal. So keep burning, keep becoming, keep choosing the hard road. Because the throne may belong to the obsessed, but the crown belongs to the ones who never stop becoming. Don't fear obsession, fear a life lived without it. When you finally reach the top, you'll notice something strange. It's quiet. No noise, no crowd, no celebration, just silence. And you? Because the climb is crowded, but the throne is empty. People love the journey, they just don't survive it. They like motivation until it demands isolation. They love the idea of winning until it costs them comfort. And that's the tragedy of greatness. You can't share it with everyone. You'll look around and realize the ones who once clapped for you aren't here anymore. Some couldn't keep up, some gave up. Some couldn't handle the version of you that refused to stay small. And that's when the truth hits. You didn't just outgrow people. You outgrew their limits of understanding. They saw obsession as madness. You saw it as purpose. And maybe that's why kings are lonely. Because no one understands the silence it takes to carry the world on your shoulders and still stand tall. But you didn't climb for company. You climbed for the crown. And the crown was never meant to be shared. They'll call you crazy, and maybe they're right. Because somewhere along the line, you stopped running from pain and started chasing it. Every failure, every sleepless night, every scar, you started needing it. Because pain became the only thing that reminded you were still alive, still moving, still becoming. It's twisted, but it's truth. Comfort dulls you. Pain sharpens you. Most people search for peace, but peace never made history. You became addicted to progress, and progress never comes without blood. That's the hidden cost they never show in highlight reels. You don't get addicted to success. You get addicted to the suffering that creates it. That's why when life gets easy, you start creating storms. Because you know, growth doesn't live in calm seas. It lives in chaos. So you walk into fire like it's home. You bleed, break, rebuild, and then do it again. Because you've learned, pain isn't your enemy anymore. It's your fuel. And the day you stop feeling it is the day you stop rising. At first, it was all about proving them wrong. You wanted revenge, recognition. You wanted to scream your worth into the faces that doubted you. But now it's different. Now it's not about them. It's not even about you. It's about what you've built, what your name stands for. Obsession has changed shape. It's no longer a fire that burns you alive. It's a light that guides others through their darkness. You start realizing that your pain became someone else's blueprint. Your scars became someone's reason not to quit. Your obsession created roads for people who had none, and that's when you finally understand. This was never about achieving success. It was about becoming it. Obsession was never the end goal. It was the bridge between who you were and who the world needed you to be. You were never chasing the dream. You were being forged into it. And then, one day, the storm inside you finally calms. Not because it's over, but because you've learned to live within it. You're no longer fighting the world, you're leading it. You stop chasing destiny because you are destiny now. Your name carries weight. Your story echoes without you speaking. The same people who once questioned your obsession now use your name as a definition of what greatness means. You've transcended the hunger that started it all. You've become something timeless, a symbol of what it looks like when a human refuses to quit.
And here's the secret ending. The true purpose of obsession was never victory. It was transformation, to take your fragile, ordinary self and rebuild it into something extraordinary. To die as the person the world expected you to be, and rise as the one you were born to become. That's what this was all for. Not the fame, not the numbers, not even the success. It was about creating a version of yourself that not even death could erase. Because the obsessed never really die. They just become legends whispered in every generation. That dreams too big to fit in silence. So when the world forgets everyone else, they'll still remember you. Because you didn't just chase your dream, you became it. Obsession isn't madness, it's evolution. The weak call it insanity, the strong call it destiny.